Test, test.
Good job. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, just out of respect for your time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, parents of our incredible student athletes. My name is Sylvia Barrera, and I'm honored and blessed to have embraced the responsibility to be the athletic director for the Laredo Independent School District. I'd like to introduce our athletic department family. Mr. Luis Escamilla is our assistant athletic director. And Mr. Coach Richard Alanis is our other assistant athletic director, and trying to hide in the back is our assistant superintendent for student services, Ms. Maggie Martinez. She's such an incredible advocate, not just for athletics and fine arts and all the co-curricular activities, but for students in general, for your sons and daughters. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your continued support and guidance of these young men and women. As an athletic department, we always strive to create an atmosphere of learning, not only about the great game that they compete in, but about character and leadership. And these are all skills they sharpen every day in our programs and will use to become incredible men and women that will contribute to the success of our community. The goal of our athletic department, obviously, is to win. You know, your children are extremely competitive. We're very competitive. You know, everybody is, and we all want to win throughout all our programs, and we want to make sure that we compete successfully when we go to the playoffs, we go to the second round, third round, fourth round. But the purpose of our programs, our why, and the why of all your coaches, and the reason that we are here and that we work diligently every day is we come together as a staff, as an athletic department, with parents, coaches, teachers, our principals, and our campus community and our district community to make sure that we help our student athletes to become better leaders, to sharpen these skills, and to give them deliberate conversations and deliberate opportunities to help them grow. With that being said, I would like to yield the floor to Mr. Luis Escamilla, who will introduce our guest and the purpose for our meeting. And again, the whole purpose is for us to become better partners so that when our children, and I say ours because they're ours too, when our children graduate, okay, they become, you know, better leaders and they're ready for not just college, their career, or for military service.
Thank you, Coach.
Good evening, parents, guardians, students, and to our district leaders who continue to support our vision at Laredo ISD. This is our third year we partner with Positive Coaching Alliance. Special thanks to our Executive Director, Ms. Oralia Cortez of Federal Programs, for the continued support towards Positive Coaching Alliance. Year one, Dr. Goodlow provided support to help our schools with team culture. Year two, Mr. Pat Peloquin spoke to us about honoring the game. He spoke to us about roots, which stands for rules, opponents, officials, teammates, and self. Year three, Mr. Jody McGarity, who is here present today, spoke to our coaches this summer about coaching with empathy. This evening, Mr. McGarity will speak to our parents and other key stakeholders about developing winners in life through sports. We ask for our parents and guardians to help us fill your son and daughter emotional tanks. Our coaches, please continue to teach life lessons through sports. Positive Coaching Alliance continues to support the social emotional support for our learning community. Without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Jody McGarity.
Bear with me just a second, folks. How's everybody doing? How many of us are tired? Good to see everybody out today. I'm gonna come down here because that's what I'm used to, and I move around a lot. Y'all can hear me pretty good? All right, so I'm a coach, so I have that coach's voice.
Connection, I think.
All summer, so my voice is well broken in. But appreciate you all being here. of how parents are. Not you all here in Laredo. There's other crazy parents everywhere else, right? Y'all seen those viral videos, right? They're just like, what are they doing, right? So in this, we want to talk about those things, all right? Additionally, this is our second Go Parent Workshop. Again, we're going to talk about how we can help be supportive to our kids this school year as they compete at a high level in their respective sports. Additionally about myself, I'm a father of 4. I have a son. He was my oldest. He was able to play basketball at the University of Texas under Rick Barnes. My son did not get a scholarship. My son worked hard and he walked on the team. And in that, don't damper your child's dreams. If they want to do a certain thing, like my son wanted to get a degree from the University of Texas. He had 8 other offers to play at any other college he wanted to. With those 8 offers, he wanted to get a degree from UT, but he loved basketball so much. It just so happens that a tryout came around and he ended up making that team. So my thing is, don't allow your child to have their dreams crushed because people tell them what they cannot do. All right? There's reality, but there's also something that's called hard work. Am I making sense? Yes. So in that, don't allow your children to be able to be crushed by someone saying what they cannot do. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. My son is my oldest. I say I'm a father of 4. That means the rest are those. 3 girls and 3 different personalities. I love them to death. My middle daughter did not participate in sports. We did when she was a little kid, but she was just like, Daddy, It's like, okay, cool. The ones to the right and the left, they are athletes. The one to the right just finished her freshman year in college. And then the one to the left, the tallest one, she's a senior this year in high school. So really enjoy this. The one thing I'll say now as we get ready to set our tone for this workshop is enjoy the ride because it's going to end one day. It ended with my son his senior year at the University of Texas. No more watching him play basketball unless I want to watch some old videos, right? It ended with my middle daughter, her senior year, and the thing about it is her senior year a couple of years ago ended up being a momentous moment when those 2 were teammates. They played for me. I was able to coach them and was fortunate to do so. But in that moment, it was a moment where that right there for my middle daughter, triple overtime buzzer beater right there. I immediately had to take my coach hat off and put my dad hat on because you just don't get those moments like that. You got to savor those moments. Still to this day, it's important to her because she still has that on her laptop screensaver. So obviously that moment meant something to her as well. All right? My youngest, again, her last year, her junior year, she was able to eclipse 3,000 points. And I'm not saying this to brag, but I'm going to talk about the things that we have to offer you at PCA and talk about. Those are the things that I was doing to my kids before I even knew about PCA and came a part of this team. I didn't tell them that they were the best player on their teams. I didn't tell them how good that they were. But all I did was focus on their abilities, their effort. How much work are you putting in? You know what, dude? You've been on that video game for like 300 days. What have you been doing with your skills? Developing and playing, playing basketball and getting better in that sport, right? So that's the type of parent that I have. I never was a parent who was coaching from the sidelines, yelling from the sidelines. I'm an internal cheerleader. My kids don't hear me in games. Now, inside, man, I'm 100,000 strong. Yeah, let's go! But I got headphones on, and if this was a gym, I'd be sitting at the very top with my headphones on. Just the type of parent I am. And in that, maybe it's because my parents weren't like that growing up. Except my mom. She was like, that's my baby! They'd be like, whose mama is that? That's mine. You got a problem? Right? But in this, again, enjoy that ride because it's going to end someday. As we get on, if you're new to PCA, just a little bit of backstory about PCA. We were founded back in 1998 by a gentleman named Jim Thompson. He started PCA out of Stanford University. He was a former professor at that time, and his overall goal was to make better athletes better people. Now, when we said that, it has nothing to do with talent or intellect, but 3 principles that I'll give you a quick crash course on before we get into the meat of this workshop, all right? These are the stats that you see of number of workshops, kids that we've reached before COVID. Once COVID came into our lives 3 years ago, we immediately went to virtual, which we still do Zoom's workshops today. And so in that, just impacting a lot of people, coaches, parents like yourself, and athletes as well, helps round out his mission. We have a large national advisory board that consists of professional athletes and coaches from pretty much every sport represented. We even have representatives from the esports world. You thought it was a debatable topic about cheerleaders being athletes. What about gamers? What do? They just sit all day and do this, right? But they're considered athletes. And so in that, being able to tell them how important it is to be able to apply principles is key and vital today. So, what is one word that comes to mind when you were a former student athlete about your youth sports experiences? What would you say? In one word. Talk to me.
Scholarships.
What's that?
Scholarships.
Scholarships, okay. Anyone else? Your youth sports experience when you were in high school and middle school playing sports. Memories. All right. What else?
Hard work.
Hard work. Dedication.
Discipline.
Discipline. Give me two more. Fun. Fun. We got a little one over there with her hand raised. Yes. Leadership. Man, let's give her a hand. She came with the leadership. Man, I love that. Awesome. Now, you have that one word for yourself. How would you describe your child's experience? What if I was to ask your child, what would they tell me about their experience? We're going to say, everybody please the fifth, don't say a word. We'll talk about how that is in this workshop right now, all right? So in this, when we talk about your goals, what would you consider your goals as a parent? I want you to look at that screen, look at the list. What would be considered your top 3 goals for your child? Playing high school sports, playing middle school sports right now. Give you some time to look over that. If you want to start spouting some out, please share. Now, it's not to say that nothing else on that list is not important to you, but you have 3 things that stand out on that list, or whatever's not on that list, you can let us know what that might be. What's important to you? Mental toughness. All right. Anyone else?
Teamwork.
Self-confidence. Got some teamwork in there. I heard it. Anyone else?
Support.
Support. Sportsmanship. Love it. Perseverance. Let's get 2 more.
Dedication.
Dedication.
Resilience.
Resilience. I love that. Now again, those would be probably your top, right? We do athlete workshops, as I stated before, so we want you to be careful, and you tell us this, but if I come to any games with you there in the stands, I know what you value the most based on how you cheer, based on how you shout. Targeted cheering is what that's called. Individuals know what you value the most based on how you cheer at games. What is that like? How are you at games? If we ask your children, what are their top goals? What would they say? Would it be similar to yours? Would it be different? All right? All right, let's get into knowing your child. This is what we call toolkits. Know your child. I already know my child, okay? How well do you know your child? Does your child like you saying, "That's my name," at games? Or when you're yelling out loud, "Go, go, go," they're just like, all right? Know your child. Know what they like, right? Know what they're about. Know what they care the most. Those goals that I had in the previous slide. What's important to them? Know those things. Know what's important to them. If it's like, look, all I want to do is just work hard and have fun. Support them in that. I want them to compete. Oh, nothing's wrong with you wanting them to compete, but where are they at that moment? Let us be able to realize how much we need to give them. Now, that's not to say that you don't let your children just run and do anything that they want to, but our kids have feelings. Now, when I was growing up, I don't know about y'all, but when I was growing up, I grew up in that that tough era. It was my way or the highway type era type deal, right? I shared with your coaches in July that I had youth football coaches, they were bilingual. Primary language was profanity, secondary language was English. And you get your so-and-so over there and do it now, or else. And that's negative. Did it work? Yeah, it worked. Because we didn't want to be sitting up here doing bear crawls in 170-degree weather. So we had to do what the coaches told us. So it worked. But what were the lasting effects of that? Am I making sense? So know your child. Then know yourself. Know when you get agitated in tight game situations and how you're going to behave. If you know you got a referee that just gets on your last nerve, boy, I just want to prepare yourself in how you're going to react when they make a call or don't make a call that you disagree with. All right? And then last, know the mission of the program. If you've already had your preseason parent meetings for your particular sports, know what your coaches are expecting of you as well as what they're expecting of the athletes. All right? Now, in the Double Go Coach Workshop, this is our flagship workshop for coaches. Again, last month we talked about coaching with empathy, but coaches have gone through a Double Go Coach Workshop. What is a Double Go Coach? Where it's a coach that helps your children in sports strive to win and at the same time teach life lessons. We tell them how important it is to help them be able to go out there and compete and what that looks like. But the life lessons that they learn from coaches is also key and important as well. We consider you all second goal parents. Why? Because goal number 1 belongs to the coaches, and we ask you to work on entrusting the coaches to help your child strive to win as they compete in sports. Second goal parent is you focus on that second piece, the important piece that they're going to take from you regardless, and it's those life lessons. Because more than anything, they're going to remember one day how dynamic you are. They may not show it now, but wait till they have kids. And then they're going to be like, man, mom and dad, they're awesome. Oh, man. And then you're going to sit back and they're going to come hug you for some reason. What was that? I'm so sorry. I took advantage of it. I just didn't know. It's hard. You'll be like, yeah, it's hard, huh? Yes. But that's what it's all about, right? Teaching them those life lessons and how key that is, right? So our development zone culture, just real quick, just think of it as a 4-legged chair. If everything is tight and screwed on your chair, you sit comfortable. If one of those legs is off, it's going to be rocking and it's not going to be a comfortable sit for the most part. Same here. If our leaders, which are your athletic directors, your coaches, you as parents, and your student athletes are all not on the same page for the sake of that student athlete, it's going to make it an uncomfortable experience for that student athlete. Does that make sense? So working together is key. So what I can't do as a parent is tell my child, you don't listen to your coach, but they play for the coach. Do what I told you to do. Who cares? He or she don't know what they're talking about. That is not the best route to go. Specifically when they get to high school. There's always a butting of heads. All right? So making sure that we're all on the same page. So we show the leaders how to develop a development zone that creates a great culture. For example, here in Laredo ISD, coaches, Double Go coaches, and we have various other coaches workshops like Coaching with Empathy. Second Goal Parent, we're going to talk about how we help them absorb life lessons. And then Triple Impact Competitor, we show them to the level of their understanding the 3 principles: how to make themselves better, how to make their teammates better, and then how to make the game better. Now, here are the 3 principles. I'm going to give you a quick crash course in these, and then we're going to get into the meat of this workshop. First is the elm tree of mastery. Second is filling the emotional tank. And then lastly, it's honoring the game. Not only does these apply for coaches and athletes, but also too for you as sports parents. All right? So let's get into this crash course. Elm tree of mastery. Everything we do at PCA is all research-based. We look at data that's proven what we talk about. There's 2 definitions of success. Scoreboard definition. Scoreboard-minded individual often ask the question, did you win? Because they focus on the results. How often have you seen your child really not locked in pregame warm-ups? Because they probably looked across the sports platform and be like, oh, we about to get crushed. Oh, we about to not locked in and focused, so they compare themselves with others. They don't believe in their own abilities, and sometimes they feel inferior to even their teammates. I'm not as good as him or her. Also, the comparing themselves with others is key and vital, but the mistakes are not okay. Why? Because majority of our kids are afraid to make mistakes in sports. So they don't go at 100%. They don't compete to the best of their ability. Why? Because they're afraid that kids will make fun of them. Kids at opposing gyms, their own classmates. So they don't compete to the best of their ability, because if they mess up, oh man, they're going to hear it. And of course, we're living in a day of viral videos, so they don't want to go viral. But we encourage a mastery mindset, because they ask the question, did you get better? Scoreboard asks the question, did you win? Mastery asks the question, did you get better? Because here's where the M comes in, the effort. If we can get our kids to start gauging how much effort that they did or did not give, that's a key. That means that they're progressing. Did I give my best effort in studying for this test? Did I give my best effort in these drills? Did I give my best effort in the game, in this one possession, or multiple trips down the court? Did I give my best effort? Did I give my best effort in completing my chores? Or did I just shuffle everything under the bed in the closet? And if we get our kids to analyze those things, then they're actually learning. They're able to gauge their own effort. They're actually learning. And as long as they're learning, mistakes are okay, because mistakes are learning opportunities. Now, what we don't mean at PCA are same repeated mistakes that an athlete might have. What we mean is kids should not be afraid to compete at a high level. You're going to make mistakes as long as you're competing at a high level. So why have any regrets? Just go out there and do your best. If you make mistakes, we'll adjust, we'll learn from it, and we'll correct it and go on. Everybody still with me? So that's the elm tree of mastery. When we talk about filling the emotional tank, it's all talking about filling their emotions with either positive, or we're tearing it down with negativity. Now, how do we do that? We do that in various ways, but basically how we deliver our message to people. Someone can be torn down negatively just by the expressions on somebody's face. Have you ever seen someone walking around and look like they've been sucking on lemons for 24 hours? Just, did you ever smile? What is wrong with you, right? That can affect individuals, but that can drain their tanks. So how we deliver it is key. Our facial expressions, tone in our voice, and our body language speaks volumes. Do you agree or disagree? So we got to watch our delivery when we talk about certain things. And we're not talking about if you're disappointed that your child has done something wrong. But when we're talking about sports, well, our delivery is going to be key and important. How we deliver it is vital. Former poet Maya Angelou said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. If I asked you to think about individuals who impacted you in a negative way growing up, you would probably be able to remember faces, names right away. There might be people when you were once in school, if you see them right now, you remember how they made you feel, good or bad. Because we never forget those things. So here we want our kids to understand the importance of filling tanks and avoid draining tanks. And then our honoring the game, which is the last principle we talked about. In order to do that, respect the roots. That means to respect the rules, opponents, officials, teammates, and self. Now, a lot of frustrations can be alleviated if people know rules. So, if you see parents who are not here tonight, and you see them at a game, and they're just like, oh, that was this! Be like, oh, that's not a part of the rules. I'll give you an example, basketball. Have you ever seen one of those parents just freak out? That's over the back! That's not a call in basketball. Officials will not go to the table and say, I got a foul on 2-3 right with an over the back. What does that even look like when you signal that? It's not in the rule book. It's a street term, but it's not an official basketball term. Y'all with me? So knowing the rules is going to be key and difficult. New rule change for basketball, in case you haven't noticed. There's no more 1-and-1s. It's going to be automatic 2-shot fouls when you get to 5 team fouls every quarter. So 5 team fouls, then it resets. So it's almost like we're getting to women's college basketball or the NBA. When they get to 5 team fouls, they already in the double bonus. So there is no more 1-and-1s in the game of basketball. So help your peers out. If they start freaking out this year, be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, no more 1-and-1s. You look like a genius. All right? So knowing the rules is key and important. Making sure that we respect opponents. We know our kids face some knuckleheads, and especially when you get to girls' sports, like girls' basketball, I think that's the most dangerous sport on the planet. They be getting after it, man. It's scary sometimes. But don't allow your emotions to be boiled over so much that you say something towards another kid. So be careful of what we say. Officials, they are not Sith Lords from Star Wars. I know we may not like them all the time, but they are going to make mistakes just like our kids are going to make mistakes, just like coaches will make mistakes with X's and O's, just like we as parents make mistakes. We just ask that you just be supportive. And if you can, feel their tanks. Because they go through a lot. And we're in an official shortage anyway. So making sure that we respect those officials are key. Now, one thing I had not mentioned is I've taken the 2-year break from coaching because my youngest daughter, I've never been just a dad to her. I've always coached her since the age of 4. So last year was my first year not coaching, just to be a father to her. And this is going to be my final year of not coaching because it's her senior year. So I've done the dreadful thing, folks, and last season started officiating. What was I thinking? Oh my God. I know. Pray for me, sir. Pray for me. But in this, it's allowed me to see every spectrum. I've been an athlete. I've been coaching. But now from an official standpoint, it's allowed me to see how you have to be able to ensure that everybody is on the same page and everybody's not going to agree with you. So ensuring that we give officials a break and show them some support is needed. Teammates and self is pretty much the self-explanatory. Teaching your children how to respect their teammates. Who cares if y'all not fond of each other? Y'all wearing that same uniform with that mascot pride for your school. And in that, you got to be able to stick together. In my programs, we are family, we're not teammates, and sometimes family don't agree with each other. But we got to make sure that we work together and we get along. And then respecting self is key. If you have any child who has aspirations of going to college, not just going to college, but also want to play collegiately, then they need to respect themselves on social media. Because folks are looking at social media. I'm not just saying college coaches and college scouts. Just college admissions officers are going through kids' profiles who apply for their college to make a decision of whether they should accept or deny that kid from attending their university. They have specifically hired nerds whose language are zeros and ones, that's computer language, and they will go and surf the internet looking at your child's profiles, report it to their superior at that college, and they'll make a decision whether they'll deny you or not. But I scored excellent on my SATs and ACTs, and I'm making 3.8s. Well, it's not showing that on your social media profile. It's very heinous, and that's why you got denied. They may not tell you that, but again, it's important to ensure that your children be careful, respect themselves, and make sure that they have a clean social media profile. Yeah, but coach, I got a ghost account. That's okay, those nerds will find your ghost account. And they will know that it belongs to you. I'm trying to tell you, it never fails. So, respecting self is key. So that's our 3 principles. As we get into this, to show you this quick video, these are kids who were asked how they felt about their parents at sporting events. Let's take a look.
I prefer that my parents, if I play bad, don't say anything. And if I play well, it doesn't really matter if they compliment me on how I play. I just I don't know, I prefer my parents to, not talk as much.
I can hear them like cheering me on, and I'm like thinking in my head, just shut it, I'm trying to focus.
My mom yells in Spanish, like, go, go, go.
My mom just says, use the backboard. You should use the backboard. I get angry because it annoys me. I'm kind of embarrassed.
She tells me to get in the position that my coach told me not to get in. I'm like, well, no. And then she's like, get in your position. I'm like, no.
I don't like it when they try to push me even more, even though I'm trying really, really hard. Coming from the coach's mouth is kind of better, I feel like, because your parents are there to support you and your coach is there to help you, you know? You just start screaming, Valentina, run faster, make a basket. But I just start going slower every time when she says that.
The other people were like, wow, that mom is like really wanting her kid to win.
In my inside, you can't see it, but I'm inside saying, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Sometimes I just look into space.
I try to listen to them and then do what they say to like, so they don't start yelling again.
We're just trying to do this, but you want us to try harder?
Well, I am.
I'm not going into a game not trying my hardest. That'd be like messed up.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
I'd like to look back and I'd like to see you like smile or like give me a thumbs up.
Say like you play good and like you couldn't get them next time.
When they smile and say like good job.
I love
Be my supporter.
when I'm upset, my mom and dad cheer me up.
Sometimes I forget about all the work that they do for me.
Be my biggest fan.
We need a level up. I want you to know
I need big hugs.
I love the snacks that you bring me. It makes me happy when you always encourage me.
So kids love hearing, most importantly, anything that what we say is how much we love them, how much they played well, but I love watching you play. And I talk to my kids often about, man, I just love watching you play. Dad, I suck today. Not to me. Look, everybody has bad games. Man, you did great out there. It's not like you were just out there just going half effort. You did great. Things just wasn't clicking. I enjoy watching you play. So we're gonna get into this first action, establishing that coach-parent partnership. How we retain our second goal focus. So we're gonna give you 3 minutes. Get next to some other parents and talk about what do you think are 3 responsibilities of the coach. And then, what do you believe are 3 responsibilities of you, the parents? All right? So again, gonna give you 3 minutes to talk about that, and then we'll talk about it as a group. Sounds good? All right. 3 minutos starts now.
show the kid what you want from them by teaching them, you know, I'm going to be the role model. This is who I want you to be.
Okay.
Right. I think that's a good one.
All right.
Bonding with the kids, right? Becoming one with them, and of course leadership.
Okay. I love that. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else? Responsibility of the coach? Can you repeat that? Because I don't know that I heard it. 3 responsibilities of the coach. Oh, repeat what he said.
Yes.
Oh, it was
We're getting you the mic.
Leadership, role model, and bonding.
So we got leadership, role modeling, and bonding. They believe are the 3 responsibilities of a coach.
and of course coaching.
Anyone else? Everybody else, please sit there, Tom.
Try to instill hard work, I guess. Try to instill hard work.
Still in hard work?
Yeah, because usually, I mean, when you got student athletes, they got to work twice as hard because you got to come to practice, and they got to pass all their classes in school so they can actually be able to play. What I'm saying, excuse me. What I was saying is that basically it's still hard work in the kids because when they're out there being a student athlete, they have to work twice as hard because they got to be a student athlete. They got to come to practice and work hard. But in order to be able to do that, they got to first pass all their grades and have good grades in school and stuff like that. So basically, the way I would coach when I was he was younger, my son and my older son, that's one of the main things that I would instill in them is you got to work twice as hard because you got to work in class, and then you got to come out here and you got to put in the work to practice so you can get better and do all the things that need you for them to be doing and stuff like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Greatly appreciate that. All right. What did you all discuss about the 3 responsibilities of parents? Support. There we go. Respect their decisions. Whose decisions?
Well, your child. I think your child's decision. It was something we just talked about yesterday. You know, he was telling me some things that he's like, sometimes I'm scared to tell you what I'm like scared. Why? Like, I'm open to say, just respect. Sometimes we expect for them to do certain things and they don't want to, and they don't want to tell us, like, I don't want to do this because I want to do this, and this is the way I want to do it, and we need to learn to respect that they're becoming adults, especially he's a senior, so, I think respecting their decisions is very important. Especially if they're good, of course. You don't want to, when they're bad decisions, but of course, like if it's a good one, agree with them and let them, if they're going to make a mistake, well, they need to do it, right now while you're still there with them,
Yes, ma'am.
So respecting.
And yes, and respecting in between the team, whether they're female or males, they're in high school or middle school or elementary levels, they need to learn sportsmanship. And there's different personalities, and we're in the real world where, maybe you don't like that teammate, or you don't like because she's annoying, or you don't, and at the end, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing your school. And so I believe that the kids need to be taught that you need to get along as a team.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I think you got to allow your child to be coachable. I think a lot of times parents overstep. You got to allow the coach to do their job. Your child might get yelled at every now and then. It's part of the process. So I think that is important, because I think in the past, like you said, it was tough love. You don't see it that much anymore, but you got to allow the coach to do the job. You got to make the child understand that there's a difference between a coach getting mad at you and a coach trying to explain something to you so you get a little bit better. So.
Absolutely. Greatly appreciate that. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Encourage and support, because me, like, as a student athlete, like, I really want, like, my mom and my coach's support, like, before a game or like any situation I have, because it would just make me like feel better about like the whole problem or like whatever I'm going through. It would just lift my spirit.
I like that. Give us some That's huge right there, right? That's what our athletes look Now, as we get into the next piece here, in this, a few weeks into the season, you already see a problem with the coach. They play players in the wrong position and make bad strategic decisions.
Say what?
Yeah, you know some people have gotten mad before. Yes, you know they've gotten mad before. What do you do as a parent? Respect their decisions. Okay, respect their decisions. Anybody else got anything different? So we got respect the coach's decision. What else? Anything else? Is that easy? No. No, it's not easy. Not easy. It becomes difficult. We're living in, and we probably have different opinions about this, but you hear this often, is that we're living in a world of entitlement. Right? Kids aren't earning things anymore. They want to be given things. Right? And so in that, how do we help our kids understand what that hard work looks like, how to persevere, how to fight through adversity? Those things are vital and important, despite what type of world that we're becoming today. I mean, the latest thing a couple of weeks ago from a professional football level is pro players from the Washington Commanders was complaining to the head coach about their offensive coordinator. He's too mean. I don't like the way he talks to me. But it reciprocates down because our kids look up to these professionals. And helping them through that process is key and important. So, here's our toolkit for our partnership. One, if coaches were here, they probably would cheer when I say this. Let the coaches coach!
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, let them coach! Let them be themselves to be able to help your kids fight through the challenges and adversity and competing in sports. Then, don't put your child in the middle if you have any issues with the coaches. I want to go an extra step to say your child shouldn't even have a clue that you have an issue with the coach, if you do. That's how important that is. Because if we're talking bad about the coaches in front of our kids, that might put a perception into the mind of your child to that coach, and then that relationship may not be so well. And one of the things that's going to be lacking is a lack of trust towards that coach from your child. So if you have an issue, don't put your child in the middle. But if your child comes to you and say, I'm not getting enough playing time, or I don't like the position that coach has me in, then let your child self-advocate. Have them to speak up for themselves. I believe it needs to happen at the middle school level, because that's where the maturity grows. And when the maturity grows, then your child might be, you're going up to coaches and like, coach, hey, let's have this dialogue, and then you're looking at your baby like, oh, my baby's speaking up for themselves, and you get so excited, you know, all those things take place, right? So help them and teach them how to self-advocate, all right? Here's Kevin Eastman, who talks about coaching from the stands equals confusion.
I once did an exercise, I won't say where, but with an AAU group. And what I did is I put a player in a blindfold and put him at midcourt. And the parents had to yell directions to the kid on how to get to the rim and make a shot. And of course, here's what's happened. A couple were yelling, go right, go right, go right. Two others were going, left, left, left. The other one was saying, turn around. And all of a sudden, the kid was so confused, he was nowhere near the basket. And halfway there, I said, stop. And I said, this is what they're hearing. One parent is yelling, catch, shoot it. That's usually the player's parent. Another parent is saying, pass the ball. That's usually someone else on the team who wants that kid to pass to his or her son. Another one is saying, dribble it. So who's the kid supposed to listen to?
So whenever we have all these different instructions, we can confuse the kid on the court, make them more frustrating to where they are making frustrating mistakes because there's so many things being spat out from the stands, and they may not necessarily be listening to the coach, and the coach might be so frustrated that the kid is ignoring them when the kid is just like, man, I'm trying to process all of these things that's coming my way, and then that causes a lot of confusion. So ensure that we ourselves are not causing that confusion. We together on that? In order to do that, we can't just sit up here and yes, it's your babies. Focus on your babies and cheer your babies on, but they're not the only ones in that uniform, right? There are other individuals called teammates out there. So instead of saying, pass the ball, because you want your baby to have that ball and take that shot, or to catch that pass, right? Make it team-oriented. Eliminate the verbs. So say, that was a great pass. Focus on the effort. Not necessarily we want our kid to score. If they score, great, awesome. Yes, cheer and let's go at it. But what's the difference of that being your baby and then their teammate scoring? So be supportive of the whole entire team. Make sense? Awesome. So here's some no direction cheering examples of where you can cheer for the team and let them know how much you appreciate their effort. And in that, that helps them as a whole because that tears down any assumptions that they may not be liked or, oh yeah, they're just here for their kids and things in that nature, which you are, but you're there to show that support, specifically if you're wearing that school pride on your shirts, right? You're not just supporting your child, but you're supporting the team. So laying the foundation, make early and positive contact with your coaches. If you have not done that, I encourage you to do so. If your sports have not started yet, make that early contact now. Specifically, what is some of the toughest challenges for coaches? Volunteers. Getting those volunteers. We need volunteers. So really step up to that and what that looks like. What is going to be expected of you? If it's concessions, if it's, being that team parent, really let the coaches know before they even elicit that help. Next is fill the coach's emotional tank. It is a long day. Now, they've dealt with your well-behaved child, but your child is not the reason why their tanks are drained. Those crazy students that they had to teach all day, that's outside of your kid, right? That probably gave them some challenges and problems, and so they're drained. So fill their tanks. It goes a long way and shows support. Observe a cooling off period. So if you're flustered, hopefully that won't be the case, but if it is, don't try to go to coaches immediately after the game and talk about your frustration. Bad idea. Nothing comes good out of that. I'm sure coaches might tell you they have a 24-hour cool-off period. Especially if it was a loss, the last thing you want to do is approach a coach where they lost and they're trying to process it at that time. Give it at least 24 hours. Calm down, cool off. If it was a tournament, if it ended on a Friday, give it 48 to 72 hours. Go to church and ask for forgiveness, then come talk to the coach. But observe that cooling off period. If your child's safety and health is at risk, or the team's health is at risk, their mental health is at risk, then that's when knowing when an intervention is needed. May not necessarily be you, but we might need to get to an athletic director and let them know, hey, I have some concerns. I try to talk to coach. Coach does not want to talk to me. So here, I'm going to the next step and talking to you about that. But that's if their health and safety is concerned. If it's anything about competing, playing time, roles on the team, whatever that case is, let the coaches work those things out and let your child work it out as well. All right? So, what is one way you will help foster effective parent-coach partnership with your child this season? I just want you to think about that for 10 seconds. We're going to go into the next action. So, how do you see yourself effectively working through that? Right now, we're into volleyball, we're into football, we're into cross country. So those are clicking on all cylinders. Before you know it, it's going to be basketball time, right? Before you know it, it's going to be soccer time. What will we do? Our second action, empowering conversations. Some collegiate athletes, college athletes, was asked the question, what was their worst memory in high school sports? What do you think they said? Relationship between parent and coach, all right? What do you think they said? Letting the team down? Anybody else? So again, these are athletes competing at a high level still. They were asked their worst memory. Their overwhelming response, the car ride home with the parents.
So, not your best practice. Can we agree on that? It seemed like you wanted to hang out with your friends more than practice. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. You know, just tell me. Because you can do that anytime. Maybe we can skip your next game. Because choosing to waste your time, that's one thing. But wasting my time and your coach's time? That's selfish. You don't care about other people. You don't care about hard work. You don't care about teamwork. That's why you're always on the bench, every time it matters. Your coaches think you're selfish too. Your hockey coach, your soccer coach, your football coach, everyone does. So, if you want to keep playing, you need to take a good hard look at yourself and think about that.
I don't think this father's gonna be dad of the year anytime soon, right? But again, those are some of the memories that kids take with them, and a lot of them quit. Your child makes a glaring mistake at the end of the game and leads to opponent's winning score. The game is now over and it's time to go home. So what do we do as parents? Your child has made that mistake. They're down to themselves. How do you handle that as a parent? Say it again?
Need to move past it. We went to a World Series we'll never forget. My son missed a fly ball and they lost to that, and it like he just never forgets it. And it was just, you know, we can't go back. You just have to take it in and move on and just get better. And I mean, he's gotten over it, but he'll never forget that.
Yeah, something that he won't forget, right? So what she mentioned, if you wasn't able to hear, her son missed a fly ball, cost him the game. That reflection happened for a long time. I'm 48 years old. I remember a mistake that I made in a high school game that cost us the game. Just don't forget those things. But we as parents, hopefully we don't make it worse. Yeah, you should feel that way. Gosh! Can't believe you! Just pouring gasoline all on the fire. Right? So helping them through that process is key and important. It all comes about understanding the mindset. And this is a part of a book of one of our National Advisory Board members, Carol Dweck. She has a book called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. She says we have two different mindsets. There is a fixed mindset, and it strictly focuses on their talent and their intellect. So it's constantly, a kid will be like, I can or can't do this. I'm either good or I'm bad at whatever it is. Talent and intellect. Even if we as parents, hey, you do what you do, great, but be mindful and ease up on telling them often and often and over again that they're smart, that they're good, that their abilities is this, and you can do this, and you can do that, and you're the best player on the team, you're the fastest. Because majority kids, when they hear that often, then they sit here and don't pretty much go to the best of their abilities. So if a kid knows that they're the fastest on the team, and they're running sprints, for example, they'll be like, my 75% still gets me in first place in drills compared to everybody's 100%. Because that's a fixed mindset. They've been told that often. Or you told your kid that they're so smart ever since they were in pre-K, then they get to a junior and they be like, Mom, obviously I'm not smart. I just bombed my third biology test. Becomes to be a fixed mindset. So she says, develop a growth mindset because it focuses strictly on the effort. How much work did you put in studying for those tests? Did you put in that time like you needed to? Did you put in extra time for that algebra quiz, knowing that you had problems with certain things like geometry, things of that nature? Are you going to tutoring? Are you putting the work in? So helping them with that effort is key. How much effort are you putting in? Did you put any effort in washing these dishes? I still see spaghetti on here, right? Helping them understand how important their effort is. Aaron Chastain talks about how we should praise effort.
I think the confidence building is wonderful, and that's as long as you also recognize that at the same time you can't let your child know that they're God's gift to the sport. And I think that entitlement is something really common in youth sports right now. So as much as you want to say, hey, that was great, I think what you need to praise is the effort and praise those controllable factors, and also send a clear message to your child that, you know, they have a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to get better. And at the same time, praise the good things that they do. But certainly, I think we've all probably seen that level of entitlement of younger players where something doesn't go their way on a youth team and their parent immediately says, well, let's look for another team. You know, that didn't go well, let's look to switch. And I think that's not the right message to send your child about being able to recover when things don't go well.
And she said this long before college brought in the NIL bill, so now kids are transferring all over the place. Because when things aren't working well here, I can go here. And they're really not sticking it out and fighting it through. So helping them persevere and fight through adversity is vital. So our Empowering Conversations Toolkit is avoid the dreaded PGA. Now, if you love golf, this is not what we're telling you to avoid. Go play golf. Pursue your professional golf career if you want to. What this means is avoid being the post-game analysis. That dad that was talking to his son on the car ride home, oh man, you were bad, and you missed this many free throws and layups, and you dropped this many passes, and you struck out this many times. You had these many errors. And you're just pointing out their mistakes and what they did wrong. So avoid being that individual. Allow your child and the coach to work through those things. Adopt a tell me more attitude. So instead of you driving the conversation, ask your child what they thought about the game. I did okay. Oh, tell me more about that. Why do you just think you did okay? I thought you did great. Or, how do you think you did with this game? I don't want to talk about it right now. All right, cool. What kind of ice cream do you want? Turn the frown upside down. What kind of piece you want to get? What you want? So help them with that process. Adopt a tell me more attitude. And then, how many of us, by the showing of hands, or fix it parents, you just got to fix your child's problems? Anybody? Anybody? Resist that urge to fix it. Let your child work things out. Specifically with their coaches. Let them figure it out. All right? So, as we talk about the next piece, a child might say, I can't shoot with my left hand. That's a fixed mindset. Let them know, look, you can't shoot with your left hand. Yet. The power of yet is key. Use that word, Y-E-T, at the end of the sentence. Teach your child how to use yet at the end of the sentence. They can say they can't do something, but that's only for a moment. If you keep working hard, then you'll eventually get there. You remember when you couldn't tie your shoe? Now you can tie your shoe, because it took practice. Same thing when we do anything else, specifically in sports. So what's one way you'll learn to have more empowering conversations with your children? Again, take a self-reflection of that. How will you have these conversations this season with your child? Specifically if it's a tough loss, so they felt they had a bad game. Or just in general in anything, they had a bad day at school. How are you going to have empowering conversations with your kids? Our final action, model and reinforce honoring the game. In the final moments of the close competition, the official makes a horrible call. How many have witnessed that before? Right? What would you do as a parent? An official makes a horrible call. Just think about the feelings of the official. Some of you might have the mindset of, what? Think about their feelings? Oh, I'll think about their feelings, all right.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
Care how they feel. Well, what would you do as parents? Uh-oh, got someone admitted they would yell and scream. Y'all gonna let her be the only one to tell the truth? No dinner. Well, let's talk about it here, right? So those things are tough, man. It's tough for us to see those things, specifically if we just sit here and we realize, man, this game is getting out of hand. It's getting feisty, a lot of things. Body parts is being thrown, things of that nature. There is no control of this. I wouldn't disagree with you. But how should we handle it as parents? That's the big key and the important part. Because again, what we're seeing today is a lot more viral videos where we got parents fighting in the stands. We got parents coming onto sports platforms, fields and courts and stuff, where it's getting pretty serious. Then they're getting escorted out by law officers because they can't control their emotions. And those are probably the same parents who tell their children that they need to control their emotions. So how do we handle those situations? Self-control routine is how we do that. What does that mean? Well, you must know your limits. So come up with a self-control routine, whatever that might be. If you cannot control your emotions, there's point number 2. Be silent if you disagree with a call. If you know nothing nice is gonna come out your mouth, don't say nothing, please.
It's hard.
I know it's hard. It takes work, and thank you for being honest. Appreciate that. But as much as you can, scream internally inside your mouth. Practice it at home before the sporting event. Specifically, do it now and build up this muscle memory before that rivalry game. Because you already know how you're going to act when the rivalry game comes.
That takes discipline.
It does take discipline. It takes discipline and it takes repetitions. It's not easy. I'm not sitting up here telling you things are a quick fix. It might be for some, but for others it might be hard. It might be difficult because it's been done for so long. But how important is it for you to represent your child well? How important is that? Man, you're making the sacrifices and you're raising your babies up to be to the best of their abilities. But what is going to be that one crutch in their life? Is it going to be something that you did as a parent? Couldn't control yourself in games? So really work on these things. Help them be a representation not just of the team that they're wearing their jersey, but for your family as well. Lastly, speak about opponents respectfully, no matter how tough it might be. Again, if we don't have anything nice to say, do not say it at all. Here's what I like to encourage. Be thermostats and not thermometers. Thermostats is lovely. Right now, it's 8:12, Laredo, Texas. We're still at 100 plus. But that thermostat has got us cool right about now. We're not feeling no ounce of that 100 plus. Thermometer, it's cool in here, you stick it outside, it's gonna be 100 plus. So basically, whatever the environment is, if it's getting testy in games, oh, I'm gonna get testy. Well, what's up then? Let's go! Be that thermostat. Opposite of what the environment is doing. Now, if it's positively cheering, yeah, be along with that. But if it's starting to get testy and getting hostile, be that thermostat and be calm, cool, and collected. No, it's not easy. It's gonna be hard, but fighting through emotions is what we're trying to help our kids. Because life is not fair. And if they can understand getting through the unfairness of sports, it's going to help them get through the unfairness of life. So it's life lessons. Here's a baseball reference of how to honor the game. Anthony Rizzo, when he played with the Cubs, we know he plays with the Yankees, so take a look at this and we'll get out of here.
Strike 2 over the inside corner, and now Rizzo. Surprised by a call from Angel Hernandez, a full count.
My fault on that. My fault on that.
Oh, what, brother?
Well,
come on, you're good, bro. Come on, you're awesome. You're awesome with us.
I don't like.
No worries. You're competing. I understand. Don't worry. And you know what's best of it? You come back and you tell me that. That's how good of a guy you are. You kidding me?
The umpires, all the umpires, they do. They're out here at the highest level doing their best, and we're competing at our best, and they're competing. So on a pitch that I disagreed with, and to think it was a ball and then him call a strike, you don't want to show. I don't like showing up the umpires. They're out here working their tails off. 162 like we are. There's no home for them. They're on the road the entire season. So just let him know that, hey, my fault there. I probably should have waited a little longer to not just assume it was a ball. And that's just the way I'm at. They're working as hard as we were working, and it's just different perspectives.
Now, in this, at the end, he said something. He said a lot, but at the end, he said it's different perspectives. So, getting an understanding of why an official made that call, that's what I do as a coach. What did you see there? Gotcha. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and go to bats with him. I might totally disagree with the explanation, him or her. But now I'm going to go to my kids, and I'm going to tell my players how we need to adjust to the calls of the officiating. Right? So we need to make adjustments. We need to pivot. We need to move here. Same thing in life. We're going to have to make some adjustments in life. So helping our kids in that is key and important. So what's one way you can model and reinforce honoring the game for your child? Again, take your time to reflect on that as we get ready to close. A couple of things we just discussed: establishing a coach-parent partnership, empowering conversations, and then model and reinforce honoring the game. Remember the good old days? Look at those pictures. Some of y'all are having flashbacks right now. Which one of you ladies had pigtails growing up back in the day? Those short shorts? Oh my gosh, I remember those, gave me nightmares. And then this generation brought them back. What? Good gracious, no. I like my shorts long, man. I don't want to change back. But remember your good old days. What were they like? Take a self-reflection. The memories. You're thinking about it right now. If you played youth sports back then, to middle school, to high school, what were they like? What will your child's good old days look like when they are your age? What are they going to be their memories? Are they going to be fond memories, fun memories? Or is it going to be, man, a lot of them car ride homes, man, they were brutal. Man, my mom used to be on me. My dad, got on my nerves. Just think about that and remember, folks, that it's going to end someday. You're going to be seeing your child play for the very last time. Maybe it's in high school. Maybe it's in college. But it's going to be just one last time. The ride will be over, and it's no more going to see your child play sports again. You're going to have to take a long hiatus until those grandkids start playing sports. But what is it going to look like? The memories. Savor these moments. Enjoy the ride. Because before you know it, it's going to be gone. So, some parent resources are available to you at our PCA DevZone site. It's a highly reliable resource. But also, too, there is a crisis text line that I want to point out, that if any kids that you know, we've heard some things of, my kid doesn't talk to me. This is an opportunity where your kid can talk to some counselor who's on standby 24 hours a day. We know that kids may not communicate well verbally, but boy, those thumb muscles are strong, right? They text. That's why this crisis text line organization exists. They can get a hold of a counselor 24 hours a day by texting the word home to the number 741-741. It's not PCA affiliated, but it's a trusted resource that we can refer to families because mental health is a serious issue today. If you would not mind, I'll leave that up for 30 seconds. Go ahead and scan that QR code. That is an evaluation form for me. Let me know how I did and how I can get better to serve you in the future or serve anyone else. I do take your thoughts seriously. I do take it into an account. If there's things that we can improve, let me know. If I was too loud, let me know that too. But greatly appreciate you all. If you want to get a hold of those resources and help us, since we are a nonprofit, we have what we call a text to sign in, and that is on this screen here. If you want to text to this number to get access to additional parent resources, you would text to the number 650-763-2405. And you're going to send one text message, but it must have 3 lines of information in it. Line number 1, whatever you call that sign, pound sign, hashtag, or number sign, followed by the numbers 143984, no spaces. Line number 2 will have your first and last name. Then line number 3 will have an email address. And if you have those 3 lines of information, you can then hit send. PCA is nonprofit. Your information is not rented or sold to anyone. It stays within us. It's for internal purposes only. What this does is let us know, let our donors know, we just serve the community of Laredo ISD, and it helps us to be able to get money in to be able to conduct more workshops. You should get a message that says, thank you for attending today's PCA workshop. That means you did it right. If you got a message that says workshop not found, then probably you did not enter that pound sign in line number 1, or that pound sign is spaced from 143984. All 7 characters in line 1 must be together. If you got a response that says, who is this? That means you have accidentally texted someone in San Francisco. So make sure you text to the number 650-763-2405. Folks, thank you all so much for your time. Best to you all as you support your children this season. Student athletes who are here right now, give your best. There's going to be times where things don't go your way. There's going to be times where adversity is going to be so strong that you might be thinking about giving up. But don't. Stay through it, persevere, be strong. Just think about teammates who need you to be at your best, even during your bad times, to still be at your best to encourage them. Best to you all this year. You all take care, and we hope to see y'all next time.
Thank you so much, Coach Jody. Ladies and gentlemen, parents, before we conclude the night, I'd like to introduce Ms. Maggie Martinez. She is the Assistant Superintendent for Student Services, and she'd like to say a few words.
Good evening. I know it's very late, but just our coach sent a very strong message, but I want you parents to also feel very proud, because just like he mentioned, and we always tell our student athletes, a student athlete is a student first. You have to perform in the classroom in order for you to be a good athlete and continue with athletics, which is extracurricular, right? It's after your curriculum. But you as parents here, count how many parents we have of those athletes that we have in the district. We have over 2,000 student athletes in the district, and count our parents right here. So I congratulate you for being an awesome parent, because you are parents first. You are parents of a student athlete, but you are parents, and our coaches are also their, in local parentis, they're their parents in school. So our coaches, thank you for being here as well, but our parents, we honor you and thank you for your support. And hopefully we'll learn at least one thing from our coach here, for our presenter. He did an excellent job. But I also want to tell you that we have practiced this with our principals, with our assistant principals. We read a book this summer on leadership, how to lead our schools and our people that we supervise a little bit better. And one of the chapters that we as educators got to explain a little bit better, the chapter that I got was on taking criticism with grace. Criticism is there to help you grow and become better. Don't take it negative. So parents, please understand that we at LISD, we appreciate everything you do. We don't criticize you because we need your support. There's not a manual out there on how to be the best parent. Or like the coach mentioned earlier, oh, is your kid like that because you're a bad mom or a bad dad? No. There's not when you become a mom or dad, there's not a plan, a play game, follow these instructions. There are no instructions books how to be a good parent or a bad parent. You do your best as things come along. But also, let's get together and try to practice what we learn here. If there's something that we can do for our kids, it's your example. Kids are always watching you because you're their parent. Whatever you do, they're sponges. They're gonna, understand what you're doing, why you do things the way you do them. So please always have that in mind, that they're always watching you. Even if you think that they're not listening to you and they're trying to ignore you, they are hearing you. So let's practice that, but on behalf of our superintendent, Dr. Silvia Rios, and our all Board of Trustees, we thank you for being great partners in our education. Our parents are what make our LISD family a great place to be. So we are very blessed, and thank you for these wonderful opportunities that we listen to other, speakers come and give us their teaching, because we are also sponges. We can also learn from each other. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you for everything you do, and continue to support your student athletes and your kids at all the games, all the practices, and thank you for always being awake early in the morning to take them to practice, and this late in the evening to come to talks or to pick them up from practice. So thank you for everything you do and your support. We really appreciate you.
Parents in parting, I had a conclusion, but I think Maggie did an incredible job bringing closure to this evening. But before we go, I would really like to thank you on behalf of the administration here, our coaches here, for trusting us with your children. We understand how important they are to you and how much you cherish them. So our goal tonight was to build partnerships and relationships with y'all, and let y'all know that our goals for your kids are the same, that we want to see them succeed after high school. We want to see them enter great careers. We want to see them great citizens. So please, our doors are always open, and do not ever hesitate to come see us. I'd like to thank Coach McGarity for being here today. I think he did an incredible job. He really did. As a coach myself, who raised two young boys that are now out of high school, everything he said is true. And I think the most important one he said is that one day they're going to stop playing. So enjoy the ride. Have a great evening. Have a safe ride home, and God bless.